Welcome to Just an Average Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome in to Just an Average Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Hayes, riding solo. Baker's on vacation and Bus had other obligations. He was all set to do it with me yesterday, but some stuff came up, so we had to push, and it's just me. So, it's going to be interesting. But you can find us at avgffpod.com. You can go there, click the buttons, go to Apple, Spotify. You can go to the Podbean page. I think it will show you some other options there too. The Spotify page will as well. And you can give us a like, follow, subscribe. You can listen on that page. You can also, or on the website, you can also go to YouTube and check us out there. We're on Facebook as well. So go look us up, check us out. And do all that stuff. I am going to run through some waivers later for on the off chance of somebody is going to listen this evening before. So I do apologize. We tried to do it on Monday so we can get our waivers and streamers in before waivers run on Tuesday, before waivers run on Wednesday. But I know that by the time most of you listen, waivers will have already run, so I do apologize for that. But we are just average, so we it takes all we can to hold that down. But let's go ahead and kick it off with some news. All right, let's get into some news. All right. Let's see. We had some big injuries this week. Puka, he is day-to-day with an ankle. Let's see. Bucky is going to be out. Oh my God, I sound like freaking Gronk. Ibuka is going to likely be out with a hammy. We don't know the extent of it yet, so we'll get more information on that. And Godwin's already been ruled out by the coach as well. Garrett Wilson will likely miss time with a knee for the Jets. Let's see. Rashee Rice is coming off suspension, so that's good with all these injuries. JJ McCarthy is back at practice today. Pearsall and Purdy are hopeful to practice tomorrow, along with Kittle, CD, and Evans, all hopeful to practice this week. Let's see. Ravens and Bills are on a bye. And then DJ Moore went to the hospital after the game. Not sure what that's about. He did play the entire game, but he went to the hospital afterwards. He was taken in an ambulance, so haven't heard anything yet as of this recording. And then Anthony Richardson got put on IR because he hit himself in the eye with a spring, not a spring straps. Anyway, a workout thing where you stretch it or whatever, and it hit. I guess it slipped and hit him in the eye. So, let's see. I think that's it. So let's roll out of that into some top performers, and let me hit this. All right. Let's see. Nope, that's not right. There we go. Patrick Mahomes is your QB1 on the week. Dude's he's also the QB1 for the season. So, he's been money. Drake May, also money, QB2 on the week. Jackson Dart holding it down as a QB3 on the week and getting that big win against Philly. Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones out there, QB4 on the week, 22.5 fantasy points. Dak Prescott having a great offensive season despite his team being terrible, 22.3 fantasy points. Jaden Daniels, it didn't look pretty at the beginning, but he made it happen by the end, 21.6. Jacoby Brissett filling in for the injured.
Allegedly.
Kyler Murray, because we all know Battlefield 6 came out, or 7, whichever the latest Battlefield is, this weekend. So, but he's a QB7, 20.7 fantasy points. Jalen Hurts, didn't look great, but he still got up there in the top 10, 20.6. Sam Darnold, He's looking solid up there in Seattle, man, making me look dumb. He's QB 9 on the week. Caleb Williams, QB 10. Baker Mayfield, QB 11. And Trevor Lawrence squeaks in for the QB 12 on the week. Running backs, Bijan lighting it up last night in that win against Buffalo. That Buffalo run defense is trash. They're right there with the Cowboys, which is why these top two are the top two. Bijan had 32.8 fantasy points. Rico Dowdle, they didn't buckle up. He told them to buckle up, and the Cowboys did not buckle up. 31.9 fantasy points. And then Cam Scatterboo, 30 fantasy points. Josh Jacobs coming in with a QB or RB4 on the week, 29.5 fantasy points. Devon Achane, the only good thing going for Miami on the offense, 29 fantasy points. DeAndre Swift, you get into the edges, he can make things happen. RB6 on the week, 24.5. Jonathan Taylor, dude's just been money. RB7 on the week, 21.7 points. Kamani Vidal, I look, I get a lot of stuff wrong, but I did not think Haskins was going to get more touches than him, and I was right. He had 124 yards, 21.3 fantasy points, 8 QB or RB8 on the week. RB9 on the week, Christian McCaffrey. RB10, Rashad White, 16.1 fantasy points. Kyron Williams getting his touchdown, RB11, 15.7 fantasy points. Ashton Genty, that O-line was trash, and they've got better. But he is the RB 12 on the week. Derrick Henry finally getting things going again. RB 13. Bam Knight, it wasn't pretty, but he was the RB 14. And Tyler Algier had a touchdown, like a 20-yard touchdown that helped him get to the RB 15 on the week. All right, wide receivers. George Pickens lit it up. The Cowboys offense does look good. As bad as their defense is, their offense does look that much better, especially their passing offense. But he is the wide receiver 1, 27.3 fantasy points. Drake London, 26.8 fantasy points. Pretty sure he was the only wide receiver to catch a pass. Kyle Pitts was the only other receiver besides Bijan that I know of. But he had a good week. JSN, 26.2 fantasy points, wide receiver 3. Kayshon Boutte, 5 receptions, 93 yards, 2 tuds, and was the wide receiver 4. Jamar Chase, Flacco, got him the ball 10 times, had 12 targets, 94 yards and a tud. He is wide receiver 5 on the week. Ladd McConkey, 7 receptions, 100 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver 6. Wide receiver 7, Brian Thomas with 19 fantasy points. Hollywood Brown, he didn't take a lot of yards. He caught 2 touchdowns though, and one was a tap pass, so it looked like a run, but I thought it was a run when I saw it, and then I realized it was a tap pass. But he is the wide receiver 8. DK Metcalf, wide receiver 9 on the week. Wan'Dale Robinson got him a touchdown, wide receiver 10 on the week. Kendrick Bourne, if Mac Jones is starting and there's no other wide receivers, you can play Bourne and feel good about it. This is number 11. Tedrow McMillan finally got his first and his second career touchdown. Jameson Williams, wide receiver 13. After a down week, he picked things back up. Demario Douglas, 3 for 71 and a touchdown, and wide receiver 14. And then Cameron Johnson, spelled with a K. He is the wide receiver 15 on the week. Let's hit some tight ends real quick. Dallas Goedert is the tight end 1. He had 9 receptions, 110 yards. That's nice. Trey McBride got him a touchdown. Looks like Brissett should send a clip of that to Kyler to show him how to get the ball to McBride in the red zone. But he was the tight end 2 on the week. Tight end 3 is Tyler Warren. This kid is phenomenal. He is the number 1 target currently for the Colts. Tight end 3 on the week. Sam Laporta, tight end 4 on the week with 14 fantasy points. Michael Mayer, tight end 5 with 13.5. He's been real solid when he's had to fill in for Bowers, even with bad quarterback play. Zach Ertz got him a touchdown. Tight end 6 on the week. Tyler Higbee out of witness protection to show up for tight end 7 on the week. With 12 points. Harold Fanning, he had 10 targets, caught 7 of them. He's going to be interesting if Njoku misses time, but he is the tight end 8 on the week. Tucker Kraft, tight end 9 on the week, and Travis Kelce closes out as the tight end 10 on the week. We'll even throw Jake Ferguson, since he did have a double point week. He is the tight end 11 on the week. All right, let's roll from that into fuck that guy. I'm just going to roll through them, and then we'll hit it on the end. Stafford, 9.3. Not good, especially against that Ravens defense that has been giving up hella points. Bo Nix, you killing me, man, 13.4. Jordan Love, he got 15. It didn't kill you, but it damn sure didn't help you. The same thing with Josh Allen, 15.4. Bill Krosky got all the work, none of the production, 5.3 fantasy points. Did not look that good out there. Kenneth Walker has been not too good. 4.2 fantasy points. J.K. Dobbins finally had a down week, as well as Judkins, 3.6 for him, 4 for Dobbins. Brees wants out of New York, 5.9. He wants to free Brees, or free 20, or free Hall. I don't remember. There's a hashtag he posted, but Gibbs put up 7. Monty, David Montgomery, 7.1. Barkley has not returned value for you were drafting him and has had it down here, 7.7. And James Cook, hey, if Buffalo's losing, James Cook is going to probably not do as well. He's not their pass catching back, even though he can do it. They like to use Ty Johnson in that, and so if they're ahead or close, then he's going to get use. But if they start losing, he's going to get deleted. Wide receivers, Diggs, killing us. We thought you were breaking out as the main guy for New England, and then you put up 4.3. Adunze had a down week, 4.2, as well as Michael Pittman had only 3 fantasy points. Garrett Wilson, yeah, he got hurt, but he played most of that game, 2.8. And again, I should put not Jordan Love. I should put Justin Fields on this list. Justin Fields also on this list. I don't remember how many fantasy points it was, like 4.9 or something. But either way, he's garbage. See, Cortland Sutton, 2.2. There's a correlation there, Bo. You have bad weeks when Sutton has bad weeks, so you might want to figure that out. Keenan Allen, 4.7. Shaheed, 4.8. Flowers, 5.6. Adams, 5.9. Myers, 5.9. And a couple tight ends. I mentioned them just because we were led to believe that they were going to be good, and then they were trash. Mason Taylor had 0.7, and Theo Johnson had 3.7. So to all those guys, fuck those guys. All right, we're going to hit the toast or roast. All right, I really got to get some more music or something on this thing. All right, Baker's Bottoms. Samaje Perine only had 4.2. It is what it is. If you were playing him, you're already hurting anyway. But if you played Kayshon Boutte, you had 23.8. Good job on that. And then if you played Michael Mayer, you had 13.5. So overall, very good for the bottoms. On my don'ts, I said don't play Flowers. He had 5.6. I said don't play Fields. He had 4.9. And I said don't play Chase Brown. He had 7.9. It didn't kill you, but he sure as hell didn't do anything good for you. So, yeah, I call that a win there. Then Bus's Ballers. He said to play Stafford's going to have a good week. But then he said Ashton Genty's going to have a good week. 15.6 for Genty, 9.3 for Stafford. Then he said Bill Krosky is going to have a good week, 5.3. But then he said Tedrow McMillan's going to have a good week, 16.4. But then he said Evan Ingram's going to have a good week, 7.4. So it was a mixed bag with the ballers, but we will move forward. Baker's Smashes. He said to play Bryce Young. 18.46. I call that a smash if you had to play Bryce. Ashton Genty, obviously, 15.6. And that was where the fun ends. Michael Pittman, he said to play 3 fantasy points. And then he also rolled with Evan Ingram. Thankfully, I pivoted away from Stafford and said to play Herbert. 18.70. That's 18.76. But I should have pivoted from Judkins, and I didn't. 3.6. But then I did pivot off of Tet because of the ballers, which would have been good. But Bourne at Tampa, 16.7 for my smash. And then Tucker Kraft versus Cincinnati at 11.3. So there's that. There's the toast or roast. So, from here, we're going to do waivers. I am going to run through some waivers. and some streamers. Hopefully you'll get a chance to hear that information for whatever it's worth to you. If you don't, you can hear it after your waivers run and you can go, damn, wish she'd have done that before so I could have got that guy. Or you can listen to it and go, yeah, we all know you should have fucking taken that guy, obviously. Either way, here's some waivers for you. Kamani Vidal is your top waiver ad of the week. Overall, in my opinion, he's going to get juice, and they're saying that Hampton is going to miss more time than the 4 weeks. So Vidal, now this is all contingent on if they don't trade for a running back, because there are running backs on the trade block out there they could go after. So, with the information we have right now, Vidal is the guy you want to have. And then, you want to grab some of these prospective backups and whatnot that are out there. Bam Knight is somebody you also want to roster. He's going to probably get the valuable touches for Arizona, but Michael Carter is also going to be involved, and it might become one of those hot hand type situations. So I would roster both of them, but I feel like Bam Knight's going to be the better one of the two. But outside of that, Kendre Miller is somebody you need to grab. He's getting about half the touches right now with the Saints, and he's somebody you could play in a deeper flex league. Tyler Algier needs to be added, if nothing more, because he's Bijan's handcuff. And God forbid something happens to Bijan, Algier is going to become very valuable. Gainwell is somebody you can play in a flex, I think, right now. Moving forward, it's still going to be a dicey play. But they do like him there, but they really like Warren as well, and Warren looks great. Tajay Spears is somebody to look at as well. He can take the job away from Pollard. Pollard hasn't exactly been lighting it up out there, and Tajay Spears can add a little bit of juice. And then some deeper ads, Monungai and Rashard Smith and Isaiah Davis. You're not going to get any use out of them right now, but they're people you can throw on your bench and you might be able to use in a couple weeks. Blake Corum as well, just to have them there. So wide receivers. Let's see. If Trey Tucker or Josh Downs are out there, you need to grab them up. They're owned in over 50% of the leagues, but again, I just want to throw it out there. Downs is trending up in Indianapolis, and Trey Tucker is a big play guy, so you can put him in there and he can get you 0 or he can get you 30. Kendrick Bourne, he's a tough ad because Pearsall should be coming back, and so should Jennings, but Jennings says he's got broken ribs. So, do with that what you will. He says he's going to play either way. If they're out there, I don't know how much value Bourne has, but with the injury history of those two receivers, if Bourne's out there, he's going to get some play, especially if Mac Jones is QB. Ayuman or Troy Franklin are two guys you can throw on your bench, but I don't want to play them. They're getting targeted. But there's not a lot, but probably the top ad for me, if I'm looking for somebody that could potentially be somebody I play every week, is Kayshon Boutte or Booty. I don't know. I think this kid's really got something special, and I think this week might be the beginning of him and Drake May, doing a lot moving forward. Drake May wants to sling the ball. He's a very good quarterback, and if him and Booty start connecting on a regular basis, it could be pretty nice. Luther Burden is somebody you want to look at adding a perspective ad as well. If DJ Moore misses time, then Luther Burden, he caught a few passes, and when he's out there, you can tell the dude is quick, and he's got really good hands, it seems like. So I would really, he's not somebody I don't think you can play. Unless DJ Moore misses this week, you might be able to throw him in the lineup. But I would grab him and just see if he gets a little bit more play. Jordan Whittington is somebody you can throw in your lineup if Puka misses. If Puka plays, then no. As well as Tutu Atwell. And then DeMario Douglas, again, they're still trying to, we thought Diggs was emerging as the number one receiver, but they're still trying to, it seems like no one's really grasping the ring on that. So we'll see how that goes. Jalen Coker, there's really, Leggett has not stepped up. So outside of Ted McMillan, there's really no other receiver that's stepped up. And we all know what Coker did last year, and he's coming off the IR. So they have this week and next week to get him out there. And I think they're going to. So there's that. Some streaming options. Darnold is probably my top streamer against Houston. Houston is a tough defense, but Darnold has been money. Jackson Dart against Denver is tough, but he does run the ball a lot, and he could save your week with his legs. Michael Penix at San Francisco. He's had a couple really good weeks, over 300 passing yards. So I think they're finally getting something figured out with that Atlanta offense. Bryce against the Jets. The Jets have not been shut down like we expect. So he could be okay. I don't think Bryce is going to light up any scoreboards, but he could get you 18 to 20 points and be okay. And then Flacco's interesting. According to JJ Zacharyson, Flacco has the most quarterback friendly schedule for the rest of the year. So, you could get a few plays out of him. And Pittsburgh this week, while their defense has got better, they're still not exactly shutting people down. So you might get away with having a decent week out of Flacco. And then again, you might be able to utilize him more if you need to. Tight ends. Harold Fanning is the pickup. I would put him right up under Kamani Vidal. If he's out there and he's available, you need to get him. I will say this. If you are desperate at tight end and you're okay at running back, then he is the top pickup for you. But in a vacuum, I would still take Vidal just because of the value of running backs. But he's only owned in like 35% leagues, so he should be out there. AJ Barner has been very solid with Darnold up there in Seattle, so I would grab him. Mason Taylor may be the only receiver that's worth anything getting the ball besides Brees next week, so you might get lucky with him. And then a couple tight ends that are trending up. Gadsden with the Chargers. He has definitely been getting a lot more playing time and targeted. So he's a rookie tight end, but he had a very good production profile in college, and he trends to be a very good receiving tight end. So he's somebody I would definitely put on my bench. And in a pinch, you could probably play him right now. And then Washington with the Steelers. I think Rodgers loves this guy. His snap percentage has gone from like 40 and 50% to 80%. So essentially his playing time has doubled in the last 2 weeks, and his targets went from 0 and 1 to like 5, and he's getting like utilized in the passing games. They're designing plays for him. He is very large, but he was used extensively in the receiving game in college at Georgia. He was no Brock Bowers by any stretch of imagination, but he was very solid. I mean, dude's as big as a left tackle, but he's very athletic. He even played basketball. So I would venture to say that Washington could be somebody that if he starts jiving with Aaron Rodgers, he could become very valuable. Rodgers likes him around the red zone too, so I would not be hesitant to throw him on a bench and then see what happens, and you might be pleasantly surprised. So there it is. I know we kind of flew through all that, but there was just me, so there wasn't a ton of other analysis, but. Moving forward, it's starting to get a little dicey. So you need to start looking at handcuffs. You need to start looking at defenses that, you need to try to look a week ahead of time. If you have empty bench spots, grab backup running backs. I know I say this all the time, but it's vital. It is absolutely vital. If you need the roster space for the next week, you just drop them if their guy didn't get hurt, But with the way injuries are going right now, it's best to try to stay ahead of the curve. And for those of you who play team DSTs, it's the same thing. If you can look to next week, especially with these buys, if you get a team that's going on a buy like Seattle or New England, and their DST gets dropped, and you got extra bench spot, grab it, throw it on your bench if you need a DST for that next week. Or if you look at the following weeks and you say, hey, who's playing Tennessee next week? And you go check and you're like, oh shit, that defense is available. Go ahead and throw it on your bench so you already have it ahead of time and you don't have to scramble down the road. Running backs are a commodity, so I would always prioritize backup running backs. If you look at my redraft rosters, they're just full of Sean Tuckers and I had Bam Knight before he was announced as a starter in a lot of leagues. Vidal, I got Haskins, I got all these other scrubs, but it's like, obviously McNichols has been deleted because they're using Kroenke. But what if Kroenke gets hurt? Guess what? McNichols becomes valid again. If Vidal gets hurt, guess what? Haskins becomes vital again. They're just it's a revolving door, and you have to keep churning the bottom of your roster if you want to be successful. Nobody can draft a team and just sit on it for the season. You have to work your teams if you want to be successful in fantasy football. Very, very rarely do teams just ride it all the way through. And the way injuries are going right now, you got to work these teams. You have to. And for those of you who are sitting at the bottom, 1-5, even 0-6, it's not done. You're not done. If nothing more, now you're playing to tear other people down, and so you're going to try to pull people down to the depths with you. But there's plenty of stories of people who fight their way out of the bottom and make the playoffs. I won a whole league last year, fighting my way. At this point in the season, I think I was 1-5, or maybe I was 1-4 or something. I can't remember, but you just have to keep working. And if it don't work, so what? You didn't lose anything. You're already losing. So you might as well, most of you play in money leagues anyway, you might as well keep working it and try to get something out of it. But, anyway, there it is. If anything we say or do helps you get to that average place in your league, that means we did our job, because when you finish average, you don't finish last. So I hope you guys have a good one out there, and we'll see you Thursday or Friday. Later.
Holla.